want to really quickly chime in on this conversation. Hold on. Make sure my volume is all the way up because I'll be wearing myself out like this. But I want to really quickly just um, chime in on this conversation that's going on with about Jamie Lee Curtis and Angela Bassett. I need to get. Let me put this one here. So I probably should have lit a candle, but let's just. Today we're gonna do a different. We're gonna do a different ritual today. You know, because most of the time we burn a candle, but we're not gonna burn a candle today. We're gonna try something different today. We're gonna use the little bowl. Hey, normally, why you not giving me my candle today? No, maybe I'm doing it too hard. You found it right the other day. Oh, there you go. There you go. I knew I could get it. Okay, so this is a quick story that I want to share really briefly to talk about how I feel about um, Angela Bassett not winning at the Oscars. So this reminds me of a story, and y'all gonna think it's funny. I know it sounds like book promotion, but it's really not. But it really is then. So there's a recollection because the book is actually broken down into recollections. Surviving 17. So in Recollection 5, which is called Bogalusa Babes, um, I talk about this pageant that we were in as um and it was a pageant that beings who were assigned male at birth would participate in. And it was sort of like a female drag show because, like RuPaul said, we're born in the restless drag. So, like now, when we really look at it, there's drag that men wear, those who identify as men, and there's drag that those who identify as women wear. We're born naked, and the rest is drag. It's all drag. But anyway, it was a drag show that was a female drag show, and males, beings who were assigned male at birth, would participate in this drag show. And it was a pageant, like so. At the end of the pageant, you won a crown, sort of like the little crown I had on top of my head yesterday, and you won $25. And I was really excited about it because I felt like, I knew I was gonna win, and part of it was ego. I think part of it was my ego. Like I wanted to win. I knew I was gonna win. I deserved to win. I had been dedicated to this craft of celebrating, my foremothers and celebrating the art of femininity and all of the things. So I really just knew I had it in the bag because no one had been dedicated to it like me. Of course, I had, trans siblings who were at the school, and one had won the year before me, but she used it literally as her coming out party. So, like, before that, they had never seen her that way. but they had been seeing me that way. So little did I know that the teachers allowed me to participate because that would add to the entertainment. That would add to the spectacle of having someone else to win over me when people had been seeing me like I was real competition. And so allowing someone to win over me um, would speak to the competition. So this has always been how kind of like systems have worked. Like they'll put like they want fierce competition in there, but at the end of the day, they're going to give it to who they want to give it to, right? Not to say that Jamie Lee Curtis did not deserve to win because I absolutely love Jamie Lee Curtis. I have watched a lot of her films. I haven't particularly seen that one, but Jamie Lee Curtis is a phenomenal actress. While I feel like because I was introduced to Angela Bassett sooner than Viola Davis, I feel like Angela Bassett for me is the greatest actress in the world. But Angela Bassett has also been very strategic about the roles that she's allowed herself to be cast in. So Angela Bassett has always, for the most part, played roles that have depicted her as having some type of dignity, some type of regalness. Even when she went through what she went through as Tina Turner, the end of the story was like quite triumphant. It took you on a journey, but it was still a triumphant ending. But Angela Bassett has always played roles where we've always seen her and was able to see that sovereignty in her. And I think that like giving her an Oscar would be too much like right. Like it would be like, okay, girl, we already know that you're all that, girl, because you've turned down roles that you probably could have gotten an Oscar for because they would have been happy to give you an Oscar for something like Monsters Ball or Precious. Like we'll give you an Oscar for something like that, but giving you an Oscar for playing the mother of a deeply melanated nation that is like that is like the most powerful nation in the world. Like, oh, that's a lot. Like that's too much of the truth up in there. Which is another reason why I'm super excited about the Little Mermaid movie because like this ugh, because I'm just longing for the sea. But that's a whole nother video topic. I'm about to go over there, and I need to come back here. But anyway, they didn't let me win. They didn't let me win because I had way too much experience. I had already like I had way too much experience, so it wasn't fair to the rest of the people that were participating because they didn't have the experience that I had. And so this is not to say that Jamie Lee doesn't have the experience that Angela has. It's just Angela is just she's Angela. She's just in her own lane. And so I just feel like it just really reminds me of that. It reminds me of not winning when I knew that I was supposed to win, but in a way it's unfair because other people have had to take certain roles in order to get to where they are, um, because they had to take those roles so that people could really see them. And you know, Angela's never had to take like truly. She's always had the option, and this has been her choice, of course. And I'm sure she's probably turned down a lot of great opportunities because of the integrity that she wanted her art to have. But unfortunately, a lot of times in that world, in that system, when you're not willing to allow yourself to be depicted in certain ways, it may take longer for you to get your just due, because in a sense they want you to kiss the ring. They want you to humble yourself, and I think that the sacrifice, that she's had to make because she has chosen not to allow herself to be depicted in certain ways, the sacrifice is winning an Oscar. You know, we will forever see Angela Bassett as a queen. We will forever see her as Marie Laveau. One of the most um, documented, powerful, supernatural beings, in the history of our storytelling. We will see her as half vampire, from Vampire in Brooklyn. We will see her as the legendary, iconic Tina Turner. Like we will see her as the the wife who fought back and was resilient and waiting to exhale. Like we will see her as the woman who got her groove back. Like we see her in these roles as not being broken and being triumphant and being resilient and being empowered. And perhaps that's the compromise. Perhaps that's the compromise. The compromise is how we will forever see you, how we will always, like, what your body of work has given us, what you've given us. And I think it's a fair trade off. If you haven't gotten an Oscar from them, you've given an Oscar to us. And that you've given us something that transcends that. Like what you've delivered, what you've given to us. And maybe that's the trade-off. So, I hope you see this, Angela. I don't have a huge following, but I hope you see this. And to end this video, I want to touch on the situation with Samore and Zaya Wade. So I actually saw the Netflix special Zaya, and I saw what Samore said, and I was actually more bothered about what she said about Grand Rising because I'm a Grand Rising girl. I love saying Grand Rising, but I was not offended, by what she said about Zaya Wade, because that is what Zaya was called at first, even by her family. Like, there was that moment, and just because Zaya is now acknowledged as a girl and Zaya is moving into the transition, well, Zaya has begun her transition and is, officially having her gender markers and things change. That does not mean that we have to bury her past. That does not mean that we can't allow Zaya to be whole. We can't allow Zaya to have a transition story. Now, if some people choose to be stuck there, then that's on them. Like, you should only be bothered by people that you have to repeatedly share space with. And when you are in proximity, these people are choosing to be irate and disrespectful to you. But if you don't have to share space with these people, why do you care what these people think? Like, if you don't have to be in close proximity to these people or share space with these people directly, why would you care what these people think? I I just think that Samora was being authentic about where she was, and from the perspective that she was telling the story. it did not offend me, and hopefully Zaya was not offended by that because Zaya, you are whole. You are whole. That is a part of your journey. That's a part of who you were. There's no shame in that. You are still going to blossom into the beautiful human being that you were destined to be and walk in that. But all of this, you know, don't buy into the hype. Don't get caught up in the hype. That's all I'm saying, little sister. And take that and go on your journey, baby. Anyway, down but now that I say cool, it keeps spinning and turning in Gani, Iyanko, Kalukalo, which means I am a child of God goddess. And if I am, you know you are.